call them nightcaps or whatever you whatever you want to call it. Still here in Accra, Ghana, and just wrapped up the first day of the Gateway Experience for June 2021, and amazing group of people here. We have a group for this one, total of 7 people, part of this particular group because when we announced it, obviously people are going through this whole COVID thing, and they're meaning COVID fears, COVID hesitation, COVID. That COVID did a number on everybody. So 7 folks are here in June. We got a group coming in July. That's a substantial size group. As a matter of fact, you can still make that trip. I'm telling you, a lot of people. I want to talk about these visas and stuff just for a hot second before I get into this whole thing about. I'm tired of talking about what I'm going to do. Visas. A lot of times people look at the visa process as a deterrent, when in actuality it should be an inspiration or motivation to travel certain places, because oftentimes systems are created to keep certain groups of people out. And if it's a person who's not willing to, do the little bit of work that it takes to get a visa, they figure, hey, that we got them. So, what with this group of people who've arrived here in Ghana, it's how when you attract people, we attract people. You attract the good and the not so good, but you also attract people who have similar mentalities. And so when we were all sitting to dinner tonight, and I was just listening, I said, wow, this group is definitely a group that has a similar mentality. And when we talk about, a lot of times in our society, people talk about what they're going to do. I'm gonna do this one day. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that, and then it never happens. Or something always comes up, or they hear talk to somebody, and they got some new excuse for why it didn't happen, or why it shouldn't happen. And eventually, I went through that phase most of my life, and I eventually got to the point of saying, you know what, I got to block out these people, and I just got to handle my business. And that's the journey I've been on for the past 2.5 years. And it also would have appeared prior to the past 2.5 years that I was on that journey, but in reality, it was a part of the journey. Sometimes you have certain roads that you go down that lead you to the road that you're supposed to be on, and so I believe that's what was happening all prior to that. But I just got tired of talking about what I was gonna do, and it just not happened. I got tired of talking about one day I'm gonna write a book. One day I'm gonna go to Africa. One day I'm gonna do this. One day I'm gonna do that. And eventually I said, you know what? When is that day gonna happen? If I don't actually start doing it, it'll never happen. So I said, well, I want to write children's books. I decided I was going to write children's books, and I started writing them and did it. And didn't have to consult with anybody, didn't have to sit down and ask 15 people for their opinions on whether or not they thought I should do it. I just went and did it. So anyway, that's just kind of the phase that I'm in, and those are the type of people that attract to this type of content, that attract to what I'm doing, because they are tired of either they're tired of being around people who talk and don't do much, or they are someone who has talked a whole lot and didn't do a whole lot, and they just want to be, want to hear something different, and that will motivate or inspire them to do a little bit more. So let me drop these. I put a couple questions in the conversation, and again, I'm in a crowd Ghana right now, loving it. And so let me just kind of put this in. So one question is that I pose is, why do they discourage you from traveling to Africa? Now, for some people, you're not discouraged, but in general, you're not going to see a television commercial in general that's saying, hey, come on over here to Accra for beaches and all of that. You'll see it sandals and uh, you'll see some of the most rural states that'll have a commercial running. Come to Wyoming, and in America, you'll see that. What was interesting, when I was in Dubai, I saw commercial advertising for Angola. come to Angola, because apparently in Angola they have a huge tech sector, and so they were advertising for people in Dubai to go to Angola, and they had Africans in the they had Africans in on the commercial and everything. So they didn't try to downplay it. They really did what they needed to do. But the reason why so many people are discouraged from traveling to Africa is because Africa has the wealth. And talked about this in the talk last night when I talked about the video that's gone insanely viral, where the Chinese man wanted to try to beat the man in Sierra Leone, and Sierra Leone man said, "Look, nah, he wasn't taking that." Kicked him in his joint, and if you want to know what his joint is, you can just kind of, anybody kicking anybody anywhere. the African man kicked the Chinese man in his joint, and dude lost it. Chinese man lost it, went and tried to get a stick and tried to beat the man and all of that, and then and brother drop kicked him, and it was truth be told, uh, truth be told, uh, folks were not as outraged as as one might think, and oh wow. Okay. I got a message here. What's up? What's up? And that person knows who it is. So so the deal is that when you understand the wealth in Africa, and you see the people, and you see what all is going on, there's a respect and an appreciation. And so as people are starting to come and they're starting to see for themselves, and they're starting, like tonight, when we talk about a tour, I'm just not doing tours. These are like lifestyle events, so complete with wow moments and stuff like that. So when I went to, I can't tell you where because it's going to ruin it. So for the people who decide to come, what's happening. So I took the group somewhere, and they were, it was a priceless moment. They were like, wow. And I was like, they were like, wait, if you don't do anything else, you have done it right here. And they said, how are you going to top this? I said, I don't know. I said, because I didn't know you all were going to have this type of reaction. I said, I got to go back in the treasure chest and pull out some other stuff. But it's those types of moments that you work for, and you put the time in, and you really, you think things through. And when you're flowing in the space that you're supposed to flow in, it all comes together and you don't realize it and all of that. But that's the deal. So anyway, back to the question. So why do they discourage you from traveling to Africa? Because they don't want you to see. They don't want you to understand how the game is played. They don't want you to know the wealth. They want you to stay wherever you stay. They want you to still be working for somebody, like, and it's nothing wrong with working for somebody, but they want to own you in a different capacity. And when they own you in that capacity, what it does is it forces you to work in a space where your vision is limited to wake up, go to work, take the kids to school, Saturday, Sunday. Saturday I'm off. For people who do church, Sunday I'm in church. Then you get back in that same routine. In the meantime, there's another group of people who hire people who live or in that space. And that space has been created. We're gonna put you in this space. This is what you're gonna do, and then they live. And so for years, I did the rat race, just doing that. And I was supposed to do it to an extent because my children were young, my family was young. We were, developing and my wife and I were trying to figure all it was just that time, where we had to devote to it. Now that everybody's just about grown, the youngest one will be grown and counting it down now. Just about 6 weeks now. He'll be 18. But you recognize that there's so much more to the world, and so much more to life, and so much more to so much more to so much more to so much more. And when there's so much more, and then you start seeing it, something overtakes you. And that's what happened tonight when everyone was sitting down and they just looked out, they just said, wow. And the level of when I say freedom, meaning the freedom that I enjoy now is not so much a physical freedom, but it's a mental freedom, because it's like somebody's not telling me, like when I was traveling in November, December, January, and everyone was telling me, no, you don't need to be doing X because, so and so said don't do X, Y, Z. And I'm thinking to myself, if I'm doing it, the problem is not in these places where I'm going. The problem is where I am. So people couldn't even see the fact that the problem of COVID-19. The problem was not where I was going. The problem was the very place that everybody wanted me to stay, thinking that I would be in that environment, when in actuality, when I would go to the other places, the numbers were so low. The numbers were almost, in comparison, the numbers were like minuscule. So I said, am I going to listen to these people who, and I'm not talking about ignoring wisdom. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about listening to people who have been conditioned to flow a particular way within a particular mindset, within a particular socioeconomic framework. Am I going to listen to them, or am I going to take a chance on what I feel, what my instincts are telling me? I'm so glad that I followed my instincts, because had I not followed my instincts, I would still be in November 2020. And at that point in November 2020, I would be stuck there. But in the past 6 months of my life, I have been to Tanzania. I've been to Zanzibar in Tanzania. I've been to Cote d'Ivoire. I've been back to Ghana. I was in Ghana in December, New Year's Eve in December. Went to Sierra Leone. Got my dual citizenship in Sierra Leone. Went to South Africa, and had shout out to the real South Africa, who made an amazing experience. And and then back here in Ghana. While that was going on, I'm in the airports and I'm watching the people who are traveling all over the world. I'm watching them plant their seeds in the ground. Very few of them look like me, because the majority of the ones who look like me are riddled with fear. I'm watching the other ones go in, plant. So by the time we come around, those seeds have already been planted, and now we're trying to get in a crowded space. And this is what, again, one of the reasons why they discourage you from traveling to Africa is because they're too busy planting their seeds. And we're too busy, not everyone, of course, because we got a great group there right now, but it's like when as a matter of fact, when we were sitting down, they were like, what am I afraid of? And they just looked, and I was just injured at that moment. And so what I'm saying is, we talk about how we want to be liberated and how we want to do all these different things. But now I'm gonna bring it around to the language a lot of people understand. If I'm not supposed to have the spirit of fear, why do I live in fear? And so those are things I had to ask myself. I can't speak and talk and do and for anybody else, but I have to do for me. And so I said, I cannot say that I believe one thing in one hand, but then do the exact opposite in the next hand. So either I'm not going to live with a spirit of fear, or I'm going to live with a spirit of fear and tell myself that I have a spirit of fear. So, and I'm saying that and sometimes as you're going through this thing, you think about things, and all these different things are happening. But at some point in life, you realize, I got to do what I got to do. And it is what it is. So, that's one reason why they discourage you from traveling to Africa. Too busy planting seeds that are being watered and fertilized and growing. And they knew that this segment of the population, we keep them away, they'll continue to stay stuck doing what they're doing. The next question was, why has Africa been deemed? Kind of ties into the whole thing. Again, if you think someplace is all bad, then you're just spending your money there. But at the same time, all them folks flying down from Belgium and Russia and Germany. As a matter of fact, during the pandemic in Tanzania, the Russians were all through there. When I was over there, it was Russians. That's who was there. When it was Russians and Germans. And then when you come over here to West Africa, you see more Chinese, Lebanese. That's like how that whole thing shakes out. And then even when you go down to South Africa, you see like a strong Lebanese influence. But they does, and this is a tactic that's been used for ages. They demonize it. You don't want to go, so you keep spending your money in the places that they prescribe or the places they make easy for you to go. Whereas one thing I admire about the Chinese is this. So I truly admire it because they're fearless. Many of them are fearless, and they go wherever they need to go, and they do what they need to do. They set up shop. They stack them chips. They do what they need to do. And my thing is, even in America, if we're going to be afraid to open a business or to write a book then nobody's going to come along and do it for us. Nobody's going to come along and say, hey, I'm going to write that book for you. I'm going to do this thing for you, folks. I said that I was telling the people today, I said, I'm so serious about what I'm doing. I said, I'm walking them through each step. I'm telling them what's coming next. I said, this is what's happening. Shout out to my man Diallo Sumbry. Also, I said I'm a joke. He has a great book that's out. If you're looking to, become a citizen in Ghana, he has a great book out. Diallo Sumbry is his name. So I told him, I said, man, because I watched him in action. I watched him up close. And I said, I went to the Diallo Sumbry School of Tourism. I said, and so so I was joking with him, but I was actually very serious because I watched how he navigated some things. So today when the people came in, before they got here, because I came here on the 1st, and I've been here since then. And I said, one of the things that I did was I walked their steps before they came. So I went to Kumasi yesterday. Now they're going day after tomorrow, but I went to Kumasi yesterday because I'm that serious about making sure the people who go on these tours with me have a particular standard and quality to their experience. And so, but guess what? I'm thinking about the Chinese, and I'm thinking about how they roll. And I remember being in Dubai and sitting in the airport, and they came in and it looked like they had on hazmat suits. I was like, what do they know that I don't know? I said, they got on the hazmat suits and everything. And they got that thing stacked up real thick. I don't know what's going on. And I said to myself, they're serious. They go the extra mile, and that's why they win. I said, I need to take a page out of their book. What are they doing that's different? How do they dominate when they go into a particular place? They have a certain work ethic, they have a certain discipline, and really it's something that's in them. And of course, not all of them, but even like one of my high school best friends, he runs a business right now, and he's at the top of the game. And even when we were in junior high school and high school, I watched him flow at a different level of everything he did because that was just part of his culture. And so I'm saying, well, okay, let me take little pieces of this and apply it, because if I do that, then whatever I do is going to go to the next level. It's the same stuff I teach my children. That's why my son was able to go out there and make $2,700 door dashing. You know, you got folks with 2 and 3 and 4 degrees that's not even making $2,700 in a week. So, so it's a work ethic and a discipline. So, just circling back to Why Africa has been demonized so much? Because they don't want you to come. And once you come, what it does is opens your eyes. So let's say you go to South Africa and you see what all South Africa has to offer. You're like, wow, isn't this interesting? Is this interesting? Then say you go to Ghana and you're like, wow, I would never thought. Man, I heard this, I heard that, but this is what it really is. Or let's say you go to the East and you're like, wow, I thought that this was the case, but the Indian Ocean is really calm and the people are really nice. I heard that people don't like us in Africa. And then you come over here, and they're some of the nicest people in the world. And then when you spend a little bit more time, you begin to understand all the opportunities that abound that nobody's going to tell you about unless you come see for yourself. And that's why I have property in Ghana, I have my dual citizenship in Sierra Leone, looking at some stuff in South Africa. So you look at this and you say, if I never took myself out of the box, I would still be listening to what other people told me, who, one, 9 times out of 10, they haven't been themselves. I would still be in that same space. And I hear so many people say, I have to go. I have to see for myself. I got to do it now. I'm not waiting around. And those are the people, like I said, those are the people who are coming on these tours here in Ghana. Listen, I can't mess around. When I started looking at in the pandemic, when people were scared and everything, and I'm watching people sign up, and they're like, I'm going, and then their family, I don't know, you better be safe. I don't know, you know what you doing, and it's like, whoa. Well, for those who are like, for some people, they're like, I've been vaccinated. What's the problem? Oh no, I heard this. Like somebody posted in a group today, something I think happened in another country. Something went down in Burkina Faso. And they asked the question, so how do y'all feel about that happening in Burkina Faso? Okay. That's the equivalent of asking somebody, man, something went down in Mexico. How y'all Americans feel about that thing that went down in Mexico? Well, I mean, it's unfortunate, sorry to hear that, but that happened in Mexico. That didn't happen in America. And so the way that it was framed, they said, well, it's 400 miles away from Ghana. Now, is that 400 miles away from the northernmost border of Ghana, which is the equivalent of like a 7-hour drive from the, you start thinking about this, but that goes to show that how people think. And I'm telling you, when it comes to the mental deconstruction that sometimes it has to take place, when you talk about, and I'm using Africa monolithically because it's anytime you say the word Africa, it's that thing that you have to deal with. And it's unfortunate. I think the part for me is that it's unfortunate because people are missing out on so much because they're listening to someone who told them how to think. And that's the thing. I said, I don't want you to tell me how to think. And when you can break free from somebody else telling you how to think, this is what you better do. This is how you ought to think, and this is the way that you should do it. See, like now nobody even comes at me like that because they know that's a lost cause, or it's not even worth it for them to do it. And so for me, I'm like, you're not going to tell me how to think. I'm going to go see, and then as a matter of fact, once I go see, then there's nothing that you can do to take that from me. And if more people get that, and more people begin to see it, and more people begin to do it, then we can take away the same demonized stigma that's been pushed on us for ages. And this is the interesting point. And then I'm going to segue into the tribalism and gang warfare. But the same way Africa is demonized is the same way Black neighborhoods in America are demonized. The same way, the same narrative. It's underprivileged, it's underserved, it's crime riddled, corruption, drugs, sickness, poverty, and a whole lot of lip service. Because you could solve the problem just like that. You could solve the whole issue with the stroke of a pen and printing a whole lot of fiat currency and pumping all of those the fiat currency into those neighborhoods and allowing people to be able to have access to the resources and get the training they need with the resources, you can solve that problem. But the system doesn't want to solve that problem, and we need to stop wasting our time hoping for the system to solve the problem, because the system is not going to solve the problem. And all of this hoping and wishing that someone's going to come in and change this and change that, this system has been in place for 400 years. And the only way the system changes is if we change as individuals and we begin to understand the strategies of those who have created the systems and designed the systems in such a way where we stay at a certain psychological level, at a certain economical level, a certain cultural level, and we think it's normal. We go with it. We feel it's all good. And so what I've learned is that I'm not staying in that space. I know my audience. And this is the other thing, is it's one thing to talk about it, but it's another thing to have the results from it. And so in my 25 years of working in the community and working with people and working with youth and working with adults and helping people go to college without student loans, already leading groups of people here to the continent, it's much bigger than a tour. This is something where people begin to understand that this is, when we talk about generational, we talk about legacy, and we talk about being able to put things in place. That's why when, like next month, there's a whole family. I'm talking about the husband, the wife, the in-laws, the mother, so the parents of one of the wife, the mother of the son, and the 3 daughters of the husband and the wife are coming. So a family of 8 coming to see. So, and also as a part of the July group, you have more. So that's that group, but then you have 9 more people coming for their different reasons, because they're saying that I need to see. I'm going to go see. I got to go understand it. And so when that's a part of legacy, when those children come, they'll be able to process it however they process it, and it's a memory they'll always have. For those seniors that are coming on this particular trip who've never been, they won't go to their grave saying, I never saw the continent of Africa, where at least the majority of their DNA comes from. They won't go to their grave with that story. They will be able to process it and say, wow. And so what I'm saying for those who are watching and understanding, the reason why it's so important, because there's so many opportunities. There's been so many mind games played on us and still being played on us. And from the financial standpoint, and from all the money that we wasted on athletic shoes and sweatsuits and herringbone chains. Yeah, I had to take it all the way back. I know, I'm sorry. And all of that stuff, the money that we've wasted on all of these things. And this is something that Mr. William Doctor said. He came on our tour in 2019. He said, I could have been to Africa 20, 30 years ago. He said, because it's not that expensive when I look at all the money that I spent on everything else. And he came, and that's an experience that he's had, something he's able to take, and he's in his 70s, and he was able to walk away from that experience. We had someone approaching, I think he's 91 or 92 now. When he came, he was 89. His wife turned 85 on the trip. And so he was like, I've never seen this in my whole life. When he said it, like he said, I've never seen this in my whole life. And I sat there, I just said, wow. I said, I'm glad to be able to see this. When tonight, sitting at dinner, and Mr. James Ezel, and we did discovery call, and he said, my wife and I, we had a trip planned to go to Egypt, Kenya, and Israel. And she passed away before they said we spent the money on the trip and everything. And she passed away. She never saw Africa. And so when he came out of the airport today, and I asked him, I said, when we did the discovery call, I said, I would love for the honor to be able to, or the privilege to be able to walk you on this journey. And so when I saw him come out of the airport today, at 74 years old, and today is my mother's 75th birthday, so he's a year younger than my mother. And he said, and I saw him, and he's like, I'm just so glad to be here. See, it's those types of things that take it to the next level. So what's the difference? I promise I'm gonna leave it at this. What's the difference between tribalism and gang warfare? Nothing. Except the fact that half of the gang warfare, they don't own the turf that they're fighting over. So they're fighting over imaginary turf. So they don't even own that concrete. They don't own that block. They don't own any of it. They can get run out of there just like that. Whereas with the tribes, a lot of tribes do own or possess that particular land. Even when the Chinese come in, they have to go to the tribal leaders in order to get the access to the land. And oftentimes, many, like when presidents and dignitaries come to a particular area, you have to go to the chiefs in order to, before you go to the president of the country. And so that's just that. So that's the difference. But as far as when people exploit tribalism and gang warfare, it's the same thing, fighting over turf. And if we could understand that and begin to channel our energy and stop, some of the arguments and stuff I hear on these social platforms about Africa and everything, I'm saying y'all wasting your time. I said I had to fight my own European colonization thing from kicking in, because I was like, dang, y'all so silly arguing over this stuff. I said I could come in there and buy all of this stuff while y'all over here arguing. And then I could pitch y'all against each other, because really, if I just throw a little money your way, you'll sell that one out for this one. And so that thing, it kicked in. I said, oh, I see how I can work this. And then I instantly said, oh, that's how they did it. So you may never have unity as far as like black unity or whatever. I think that's going to be a tough thing. But at least sometimes the way to win a particular war is to at least have a common, and I don't want to say enemy from the standpoint of these people from like that, but let's just use that for an example. Sometimes you don't have to like someone, but at least if you have a common cause that you can see, okay, these people trying to come take us down. So what we need to do, I can't stand you, but what I will do is deal with you, because I can't stand what's about to happen to me even more. And if people understood, they're coming to take your gold, they're coming to take your diamonds, they're coming to take what they want to take from you, and they're going to play mind games with you in order to do it, at least hold on to what you have. But if your system is, you don't value gold the same way, you don't value bauxite, you don't value rubber, you don't value platinum, you don't value what's the other stuff, the cocoa, if you don't value it the same way, and you just see it as some little thing on the tree, and they come in, then they can pay you pennies on the dollar, and then you'll have your people out there working pennies on a dollar, and they'll exploit you. So I think for us, again, it's deeper. It's deeper as you begin to learn more, you begin to see more, you begin to do more, and what you see me is doing. And again, this is the beginning. I don't know where it's going, but I know what I felt tonight when I saw the reaction of the people. I was like, I get it. I get it. I know what I felt in every part of Africa I've been in. I know it. And so because I know it, it's like, even when people people don't even really try to argue me down anymore, because they know it's like a lost cause. I'm like, what are you arguing me down for? I mean, it's my opinion. So if you had a bad experience somewhere, go try somewhere else. I mean, or if you just want to stay there, then stay there. I mean, nobody's gonna. There's 43 million black people in America, another, I think, 7 million in France, another 9 million or something in the UK, and Venezuela got a whole lot. Brazil got 100 and some odd million black people. I mean, hey, that's why I tell you, you wasting your time, trying to convince too many people. Hey, if they don't want it, cool, just move on to the next, because somebody else, you keep casting your net out there, somebody else will get it. So my encouragement to everybody is this: understand why they don't want you to come, because the wealth is in Africa. Resources and human. And that's the same reason why Africa's been demonized, because if they tell you that it's bad, then you don't want to go. And then when it comes to this whole gang warfare, tribalism thing, I just hope that we can understand, even if you never love each other and all of that, but at least understand the game is being played and don't fall for it. And if you can do those things and you can get out of the fear zone and you can say, I'm going to go see for myself. I'm going to make an investment into myself. I'm not going to sit up here and let someone else shape how I think. I don't care what the naysayers have to say. And it's the people who are willing to go through the process, do what they need to do, push the naysayers to the side. Those are the ones who get the reward. And I'm living the reward right now because I was willing to do it. So anyway, that's all I got for tonight on all the different platforms. And I mean, I'm doing, it's serious. I'm doing like rough videos. I mean, I'm just like I'm just straight up with it, just rough videos. So it's serious. And something is being said. So anyway, please be sure to like, subscribe, share, let people know what's going on. We're pushing all of the social platforms on YouTube, Facebook. Let's get this out here so that people can begin to make decisions for themselves, see for themselves, and who knows where it goes from there. All right, enjoy your day. Talk